We all think we know the story of the Titanic, right? The iceberg, the sinking, that tragic loss of life. But what if I told you there was another ship so close it could literally see it all happening? Close enough to watch the final desperate calls for help light up the night sky. Well, this is the story of that ship, the silent witness to a tragedy it could have stopped.
19. This number, it's what haunts this entire story. And no, it's not the temperature of the water or the number of lifeboats. It's a distance. 19 miles. That is all that separated the sinking Titanic from rescue that night. Just 19 miles that, had they been crossed, would have completely rewritten history.
So let's go back to that night, April 14th, 1912. You've got two ships navigating the very same patch of frozen ocean, and their fates are about to become tangled in the worst possible way. One, of course, is the RMS Titanic, and the other? The much smaller, much more cautious SS Californian.
And just look at the difference in their approach that night. It's really night and day. On one hand, you have the Titanic, just powering ahead, full steam, this massive symbol of confidence racing through the darkness. And then you have the Californian. Its captain, a man named Stanley Lord, had wisely stopped for the night because he saw he was completely surrounded by massive icebergs. He chose caution. The Titanic's captain chose speed. Two captains, two totally different decisions.
And this difference in judgment, it's what leads to the very first and maybe the most critical interaction between these two ships. See, the cautious captain of the Californian decided to do the responsible thing. He decided he should probably warn the other ships in the area.
The whole procedure was pretty straightforward. Captain Lord sees the danger. He tells his radio operator, hey, send out a general warning. Let everyone know about this ice. And that message, that life-saving piece of information, it reaches the Titanic's wireless room, no problem.
This was the reply from the Titanic. Not a thank you, not a message received. A blunt, arrogant dismissal. Why? Because the Titanic's operator was swamped, sending out personal messages for the wealthy passengers. And with those few words, "Shut up, I am busy," a crucial line of communication, a vital warning was just thrown away.
Not even an hour after that warning was ignored, the unthinkable happened. The Titanic hit the iceberg. Now, in a total panic, its radio operator starts frantically sending out distress calls into the night. But the closest ship, the Californian, would never hear a single one of them.
And here's the tragic irony. It's all in the timing. Just 10 minutes after the Californian's radio operator shut everything down and went to bed for the night, the Titanic struck ice. By the time that first SOS was tapping out across the airwaves, the Californian was completely radio silent. A chance for rescue, missed by a matter of minutes.
Okay, so with their radio calls getting no answer, the Titanic's crew had to turn to their last hope. A visual cry for help that's been used at sea for centuries. They started firing these bright white rockets, distress flares, high into the dark sky.
And this is where the story takes its most frustrating, almost unbelievable turn. Because those signals, those desperate pleas for help, they weren't lost in the darkness. They were seen clearly, by the crew of the SS Californian.
You know, the lookouts on the Californian, they did their job perfectly. They saw the rockets, they correctly identified them as potential distress signals coming from a big steamer not too far off, and they immediately went to wake their captain and tell him what was happening.
In fact, the crew was so concerned about these rockets that they woke Captain Lord up not once, but at least twice. And the number of times he took any action to figure out what was going on? 0. He just told them it was nothing and went back to sleep.
So why? Why do nothing? Well, it all boiled down to this one fatal assumption. Captain Lord decided that these white rockets, the universal known signal for distress at sea, were probably just some kind of company firework, ships talking to each other. He convinced himself it was nothing important, and in doing so, he sealed the fate of more than 1,500 people.
8. That's the final number to remember. That is how many distress flares the crew of the Californian watched shoot up into the sky that night. 8 distinct cries for help. 8 chances to act. 8 signals, all seen, all reported, and all ignored.
So you see, this wasn't really a story of just bad luck. It was a tragic near miss, a situation defined by a whole cascade of human errors. It was about the devastating, real-world cost of inaction. An inaction that would end up tarnishing careers and changing maritime law forever. I mean, just think about that chain of failures. You have a rescue ship literally within sight. You have a critical warning that gets arrogantly brushed off. A radio goes silent at the worst possible second, and 8 distress flares are seen but dismissed. If just one of those things had gone differently, this whole story could have had a different ending.
And so, as the Titanic slipped beneath the icy waves, the SS Californian just sat there, motionless, only 19 miles away. The ship that could have been the hero of the story simply never came.
It really leaves us with this one haunting question. And to question that goes way beyond this one historical event, it kind of speaks to all of us. In a moment of real crisis, what is the true cost of just looking the other way?